To make bobbin lace, you need 4 things: thread, pins, bobbins, and a lace maker's pillow. This is not a soft, squishy pillow, it's a very dense, hard pillow, stiff enough to hold pins in place while you work. Historically, they were made in many different shapes depending on the region you're from and what kind of lace you're making, and were usually filled with densely packed sawdust, straw, or wool. I found that my favorite pillows to work on are not necessarily historical recreations, which admittedly is odd for me. I actually prefer to work on a pillow filled with cork. I have no idea how historically accurate it is, but it takes pins really well. It's very self-healing, and for me, it just works wonderfully. You can find lace pillows for sale at a number of different places, including my 2 favorites, Van Sciver Bobbin Lace and Lace's. But you can also make your own, which is what I'm going to show you how to do now. Remember, we're flexing our maker's muscles here. So if you go about this with an open mind, to think outside of the box as far as shapes and materials go, you'll end up with a really great custom pillow that should last a lifetime. Let's start with the base. The shape and size is completely up to you. This is your tool to make your lace. The bigger it is, the heavier and more unwieldy possibly it can be, but it will also give you more room for bobbins. So finding that balance of the right size for how many bobbins you want that isn't too heavy is going to be totally up to you. I believe this one here is something like 18 by 22. A couple of my other pillows are 18-inch rounds. I personally have found that the 18-inch is a good kind of size for me, but again, it will be up to you as far as how big and heavy you want it and how much room for bobbins you want. Where to get your base? My husband's a contractor, so we have scraps around all the time, and he just cut this out for me. You can get pre-cut pieces of wood at hardware stores or sometimes at lumber yards. Another option is stopping by a job site or a construction site if they look friendly, and asking if you can look through their scrap pile, because more often than not they will have pieces of random wood that you can take home and cut yourself, or if they seem up for it, they may cut for you as well. Cabinetry shops is another one. You can get really nice woods at cabinetry shops. This base part doesn't need to be fancy because you're not going to see it. It just needs to be heavy and strong. Alright, so next we're going to build up on top of the base with cork. You can buy cork tiles, you can buy cork sheeting by the roll. I would probably stay away though from the cork that has an adhesive on the back, because you don't want to gum up your pins. If you don't want to use cork, you can also use styrofoam or ethafoam. What you want though is something that's going to be relatively self-healing, because you're going to be pricking roughly the same spot a lot, and you don't want it to just disintegrate inside. So regular packing styrofoam won't work because it'll disintegrate too quickly. Of course, historically they were packed with straw or very densely packed wool, and you are absolutely welcome to do that as well. But for our purposes today, I think this is a very easy way to make a very effective pillow. Alright, so we're going to build our structure with cork. Then we're also going to need some kind of batting or quilting to kind of soften the edges a little bit and make it a little more comfortable to hold on to. I have some thin cotton batting here. I also have some quilted fabric. After that, you're going to need your cover fabric. It's tempting to use some really wonderful tapestry or brocade for this, but I found that a good sturdy twill or canvas is going to stand up better. So if you have something with too many bold shapes and colors, it can get more tiring on your eyes. You're going to be staring at this for a long time, and there's going to be a lot going on. You're going to have your pattern, you're going to have your lace that you've made, you're going to have all your bobbins, and you want something that's going to be able to stand up to lots of pins and not be too busy once you've hung all your stuff onto it. As for color, the general consensus is you're going to want something either neutral or cool, like green or blue or teal. Again, you're trying to avoid eye strain, and those are colors that don't exhaust your eyes as quickly as a red or an orange. Again, totally up to you. This is your pillow. Use what you want to use. Just something that you might want to consider at this point. And then lastly, you're going to want some kind of pretty fabric to use as a dust cover, as a bobbin cover, something to separate the bobbins that you're not currently using with the ones that are active right now. It helps to have about a half a yard of some kind of pretty fabric. So what we're trying to do is just pad up the bottom ever so slightly to make it more comfortable to sit on your lap, make it more soft on the table. So this is where you can use your quilted fabric or batting or a couple layers of scrap fabric. So I'm cutting this piece out of the quilted fabric, and then I'm going to cut another one the same size out of my cover fabric. And then I'm stapling them to the base one layer at a time. Alright, so let's see if we can get our cork on there without it all blowing up and crumbling everywhere. Unfortunately, I didn't end up recording myself actually cutting out the pieces of cork, but I have layers getting gradually bigger from the center out. I have one small layer made of scraps in the middle, another slightly bigger layer, and then the two top layers, which are the same size as the base. We've got our fabric with the right side out. I've got 2 layers of this little cotton batting. Now we're going to take our stack, flip it upside down, put it right in the middle. Kind of work it around so that all your corners are exactly where you want them. I cut this a little closer to the outside so we don't have so much to turn in when we roll it up and sew it down. Okay, we're going to start with the long sides first. We're going to fold it under, pull it up, and then pin it down. Okay, so now we'll go around to the other side. Now this, we want to try and pull kind of tight. I just keep pinning all the way around all the sides. Okay, so now that I've got 4 sides done, let's work on the corners. Now, I'll probably end up leaving this blank. There is an opportunity here to embellish, probably after you've sewn it down. If you don't want to sew it, you could put furniture tacks or furniture studs in there and have a whole row of round studs. That would look really nice. Another thing to do is sew it down and then put a piece of trim. You could have the trim come up and overlap up a little bit. But again, you don't want to get too crazy with the decorations because there's going to be a lot going on. It looks very plain right now, but there's going to be a lot going on the pillow once we're actually working with it. Okay, last step. Let's sew this all down. So yeah, there you have it. How to make your own cookie style bobbin lace pillow. Think it turned out pretty nice? Obviously a lot of leeway for interpretation and your own personal flair, but at least now you know kind of what is inside a pillow when you look at it like this. And yeah, hopefully that helps. I think it's kind of important for crafters to make their own tools when they can. I think it adds personality to your project. When things are customized exactly how you like them, you get more joy out of them, I think. You do appreciate a tool more when you know what's inside and you've made it yourself and the stitches are your own and the fabric is your own. And thank you for coming along with me as I made this one. Until next time, bye! All right. So you're going to want to start with a base. Now,
that. Hello.
hello. Hello. Oh, thank you, baby. Just what I wanted.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So the first thing you're going to need materials-wise is a base. Yeah. So now, without getting poked, or scratching your table.